You wouldn't believe what I discovered when I opened that drawer. Was the ring on my finger really stolen? My heart beat fast. The ceremony stared at me. My sister stood up. She pointed to my hand and she shouted that the ring was hers. The guests looked at me like I was guilty. I felt the color leave my face. I had a secret, but I did not show it yet. I had planned this moment, however, I had no plan for her words. The groom held my hand tight. My vow words left my mouth, but my mind was a storm. The priest stopped speaking. The aisle felt like a long road. I saw my mother cry. I saw my father shake his head. Everyone waited for me to explain. I could speak and lie. I could speak and name the real truth. I chose to speak. The first word left my lips and the room leaned close for the rest. My name is Soraya. I was the villain that night. I smiled as the bride walked down the aisle. I felt the power of a plan that I kept for years. I had a plan for justice. My sister and I grew up in the same house. She always had what she wanted. She took my small joys. She married a man and she left me with shame. I worked hard for 10 years. I built a life and a small company. She laughed when I could not pay for college. She told guests my failures. I kept my head low. I learned to wait and to work. One day she came to me crying. She wanted to borrow money. I gave her money. She promised to repay and she never did. The pain stayed in me. I did not say it to my parents. I did not shout at her. I planned a day when everyone would see the truth. The wedding was perfect for the show. The groom was kind. The flowers smelled like luck. I wore the ring she once wanted. I had put it in my drawer the night before. I knew the ring had a story. I knew where it came from. I had a paper that proved it. I had a photo and a receipt in my purse. I had waited for this ceremony to tell the truth. I wanted public justice. I wanted her to feel the shame she gave me. I held my breath as she stood up. She looked hurt and angry. She said the ring was stolen from her. The guests turned to look. The groom whispered, "What?" I felt the crowd press in like water. My mother began to cry louder. My father stood up, and his eyes were wild. I could feel the secret burn in my chest. I could feel the room closing. I had one chance to change the story or to let truth die. I opened my mouth. The first sentence came out soft, then loud. It left them all with a new question. Would I confess or point a finger? The music stopped and footsteps came closer. I spoke slowly. I said that the ring had a paper trail. I said I had proof that it was not my theft. I said the ring belonged to a charity auction. I watched my sister's face change. It went from proud to pale. She tried to laugh, but it sounded like a cough. Guests leaned forward. Auntie Fatima asked, "Is this true?" My hands were steady. I took the paper from my purse. I showed the receipt in the light. It had a name. The name was not my sister's. It was a woman who lived in the city. I told them that my sister had once worked at the charity. I said she had taken the ring to sell and had never told me. The room filled with low voices. The groom looked at me with fear and doubt. He did not know what to believe. My father shouted, "Show me proof." I handed him the photo. It showed my sister with the ring months ago. She had it in a photo with a stranger. She tried to grab the paper. Her hand shook. She said loudly, "You lie." My mother covered her mouth and began to cry. The guests began to whisper. The wedding photographers did not know where to point their cameras. The wedding cake stood untouched. The reception was paused like a broken clock. The priest asked for an objection. My sister used the word betrayed. She said I betrayed family trust. I wanted her to see the damage she did. I wanted the public to know her choices. At that moment the groom stood. He looked at his bride and then at me. He said, "I need the truth now." My voice did not break. I said the truth. I said the name of the real owner. I said she had sold the ring. I said I had bought it back to keep a promise to our mother. My sister screamed and left the hall. The guests watched her leave. Some clapped softly like a wind. The groom felt lost. He asked me, "Why did you hide this until now?" I had to tell him the deeper lie. I had to say what I had done and why. The door to the hall opened and a low footstep came in slow. Who was at the door? I told the room my truth. I said I had bought the ring back. I said I did it to honor my mother and to stop my sister from selling family things. I said I wanted peace, not war. The groom looked at me with new eyes. He remembered a small kindness I once gave him. He remembered how I helped him with his job application. He looked unsure. My sister had made him believe she was poor and tired. She had told him I was the cold one. I had let him think that for a time. I had a plan that was hard to say. I said that the ring had a second secret. The ring had an old name engraved inside. The name was not my sister's. It was the groom's grandmother's name. I had found the engraving in an old box. The box had a letter. The letter said the ring was lost in a market years ago. The name in the letter matched the name in the ring. I watched the groom's face. His jaw opened. He had never known his family past. He said, "My grandmother loved this ring." His voice was small. The guests were quiet like the sea. I told them that my sister took it and lied to hide it. But then I said the bigger truth. The groom looked at his bride and then at me. He said, "If this is true, Soraya, then who are you?" I felt the moment to flip identities come. For years I let them think I was only the steady sister. I had a second life. I had worked in the city with old family ledgers. I had found the names in papers that showed who owned what. I had the proof because I had the job as a records helper. I told them I had the proof because I had seen papers that others never saw. I said, "I am the keeper of our family past." The room did not expect that. The groom stood slowly. He took my hand. He said, "You saved the ring for family. You saved honor." The crowd breathed. My sister ran to the hall door. She grabbed a guest and said the papers were fake. The guest laughed and said the receipts were real. My mother fell to her knees and asked forgiveness. The groom's eyes met my sister's. He saw a woman who lied for gain. He saw the bride he loved now in a new light. The music began to move like a slow river. I felt the weight lift, but a new thing started. The groom whispered something to me. He said, "There is one more name I must know." The clock on the wall ticked loud. The last paper sat in my purse. Would I show it now and change everything for good? I opened the last paper. I read the old letter loud. It said the ring was a family gift. It named the true owner. The true owner was not my sister. It was the groom's grandmother. The groom sat and wept a single tear. The guests stood and then they applauded softly. My sister collapsed and said she was sorry. She begged the groom and our parents to forgive her. My father looked at both daughters and he was silent. I felt a strange peace. I had planned a public moment to teach a lesson. The lesson was hard. I learned it too. I learned that the truth can heal and hurt. I learned revenge can make you lose parts of your heart. I learned that justice does not need a stage. I gave the ring to the groom. He put it back on his bride's finger with a new look. He promised to build a family with truth. I stepped back and let them be. Later, I spoke to my sister alone. I said, "I forgive you if you change." She cried and said she would. We walked away from the house and into a quiet street. I held the small bag with my receipts. I felt tired and ready to rest. The lesson I want to leave for you is simple: tell the truth early. Do not keep a secret like a burning coal. A secret will burn you and others. Justice is sweet, but kindness lasts longer. If you see wrong, stand with proof and stand with care. The countdown for truth does not need drama. It needs courage and calm. Will you keep a secret or will you set the truth free?